I love Miraculous Ladybug. I don't think I'd have a channel if I actually hated the show, but the fact is that there are a lot of problems with this show. This is a way to recognize those flaws and hopefully lead to a better future for the show. So without much ado, let's get on to everything I hate about Miraculous Ladybug. For starters, I hate the fact that one of the two main characters in the show is so useless and absent when compared to his counterpart. Adrian/Cat Noir is my favorite character in the show, and he's half of the show's title, yet he still gets left out of everything. He had to threaten rescinding his heroism as Cat Noir to try to learn about Master Fu, is always completely disrespected by Ladybug, whether it be her treatment of him in Kuro Neko, her willingness to abuse his trust in Ephemeral, the fact that he's set up as someone who's athletic and sporty but gets his ass handed to him by villains, by Ladybug, even by Scarabella, and the fact that he even gets shown up by Ladybug when they swap Miraculous. Like, I understand the writers hate Adrian, but I don't know why. They wasted the Chekhov's gun of his father being the main villain by having him sit out the finale of the first arc, and then they let him be babied by Marinette, Kagami, and Felix by having him stay out of the know on information he is privy to above anyone else. Above everyone else. And that's all without even mentioning how Ladybug's able to beat villains like Puppeteer and Cat Blanc by herself, but Adrian couldn't even handle Night Tormentor. I could make a whole video about the way the show treats Adrian, but better YouTubers than myself have already done so let's just move on. Another issue that's been talked to death that I ascribe to is hatred for Marinette. Now, let me set the record straight. I don't actually hate Marinette. I just hate so many things the writers choose to do with her or add to her character. Firstly, and this is a hot take, but I don't have a problem with Marinette being a stalker. Is it weird, wrong, and unhealthy? Yes. But I don't have a problem with it because it's literally one of the very few character flaws that she has. Like, if she crushed on boys the normal way and wasn't charitable to a fault, then she'd be a textbook Mary Sue. So her stalkerish behavior has to stay to counteract that. What I do hate about Marinette is her constant shoehorning into this story when she could just be fine as a side character for a change. Also, her superpower being luck, which is stupid because luck at any point in a story, minus the beginning, is stupid. Unless the character's entire thing is luck, like Domino, then it's still dumb, but it makes sense. Marinette's entire thing is not luck, it is creation. Lucky Charm is stupid because it gives you part of the solution, which isn't too much of a puzzle when sometimes the Lucky Charm in and of itself requires luck. Also, Tiki's whole thing isn't luck either. It's also creation. The fact that Ladybug makes Rube Goldberg machines that actually work, or the fact that the Lucky Charm and Deflagration made it to Marinette, or any other luck-based action that occurs in the show, only damages the show, and Marinette further because it's blatant signs of bad writing. This ended up more as a Lucky Charm hate session than a Marinette one, but to close out this section, I'll finish with two things. Firstly, Lucky Charm should be like how it is in Season 6, but since the beginning. Ladybug can spawn any item she wants to help her solve her problems, which she has to figure out. She has to find the part that's missing and how to save the day, and she only gets one try because of the 5-minute timer. And secondly, there is a lot to hate about Marinette, whether it's her unearned skill in basically everything she does, her poorly written motivations like the atrocity that is derision, or the blatant favoritism she receives. I'm not gonna harp on it because, like with the Adrian section, there are better YouTubers that have already made videos on this, so just go check out those if you want more Marinette hate. This section's gonna be short because it's about plot holes, and I've already made a video about those. It's not gonna be pointing out plot holes, as it is more of a how the hell did we get to this point type of short discussion. Because, like, seriously, how the hell did we get to the point that I can make a damn near 20-minute video about plot holes and still be receiving comments months later about how I missed some? I've even come up with more plot holes that haven't been mentioned by any comments or in my video, so maybe I'll make a sequel to that video, but it's a testament to how much the writers don't understand the lore they've created. Sometimes it's caused by retcons, which is a whole other can of worms, and sometimes it's just something that doesn't have an answer. You kind of just have to make up your own headcanon as to how it works. Like recently I made a short about the fact that Fu has a rabbit Miraculous in the Miracle Box, and Alex has one simultaneously. They're both miraculous, and Bunnix even returns to the future with present Alex's miraculous. But if that's the case, then why did she have one before him? Adult Bunnix has a miraculous, yet still takes Alex's, so where did she get the first one? People will say bootstrap paradox, but that only applies to the one teenage Alex has. Where did the first one come from? Maybe that one can also be explained via bootstrap paradox, but I'm so tapped out on time travel even months later. Also, to anyone saying that plot holes exist in every story, that's just blatantly false. There are no plot holes in Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, Lord of the Rings, etc. Sure, there are inconsistencies or mistakes in execution, but plot holes are impossibilities given the rules and events established by the stories, and there are none present in those stories that I've named. The fact is that when it comes to plot holes, Miraculous looks like SpongeBob. A simple literary bible and better foresight would have went a long way. This next one kind of plays into the last section, but it is a separate topic in and of itself. That being, why the hell am I legally obligated to read a 50-year-old man's tweets in order to understand the show on a basic level? The amount of times I make a video about an inconsistency in Miraculous and the top comment is, well, according to Ashrook, cut the damn cameras. I should not have to read Ashrook's Twitter ravings to understand understand Miraculous. The show should be able to stand on its own 2 feet. If there are problems like Adrian not losing control when he gets cataclysmed even though he's a Senti, and the only reply is, well, Ashrick explained that the suit took most of the hit so he's fine, then you have failed as a writer. Director's commentary should not be an obligation to explain crucial errors or logical inconsistencies within the show. And it only gets worse because in Ashrick's head, these problems in the show have been explained by his tweets, so they will never be answered by the show in and of itself. This is a fundamental writing criticism that I would give to a beginner, not someone who has been doing this for decades. This is an actual short section, as I've already touched on this topic, but that's gonna be watch order. The fact that a TV show has watch order is unbelievably dumb. Why should people like Ladybug watch order have to do detective level analysis on a show to pinpoint which episodes come before which and which episodes come after others? Production order should have been the way to go since the start. And in season 5, we got a taste of how that plays out, and it was gas. Well, the episodes being in order was gas. Season 5 itself was dog shit. It's a shame not only that we have to come up with such things as watch order, but the fact that the show doesn't even have an official established watch order is also a problem, because if they had one, Disney Plus and Netflix wouldn't have such radically different orders. It's an entire flustercluck that even persists today in the year of our Lord 2026. Season 6 should not have these problems, but yay us, I guess. The writers of Miraculous seem to have a problem when it comes to their obsession with character assassinations. For some reason, they love to establish a character one way and then absolutely nip it in the bud for no reason. The most obvious example being Chloe Bourgeois. Now, don't get it twisted. I do not like Chloe at all, but I love the arc that they had established for her because it was an actual good subversion of expectations. Normally, the bully character to the hero becomes a villain, like Flash Thompson. And while Miraculous did do that with Chloe, they also chose to take her in another direction, making her a hero after she was established as a bully, and building her up to drop those habits was perfect. And then they folded like an omelet. Another thing that's been spoken to death, but I'll leave it with this. $1 million move, 10-cent finish. Here's something that isn't spoken about often. Miraculous doesn't know how to write smart characters. It's clear the writers have no clue how to write a character that is smarter than them, and it very obviously shows. Take every character who is established as being cunning and intelligent. There are a few, but the two that have gotten the absolute most of that treatment are Lila and Felix, and they're both dumbasses. Let's start with Felix. He does this whole planning thing about ruining Adrian's relationships for seemingly no reason, except Plag caught him red-handed snooping around and ganking his phone. But Plag not only doesn't mention that Felix stole Adrian's phone, but doesn't spy on Felix to see what his plans are. In Gabriel Legrest, he's caught snooping, resists akumatization, and then cuts part of Senti Gabriel's pants. But later in the episode, he sees that they aren't torn, and his first assumption is that he's right about Gabriel being Shadow Moth. What about, I don't know, Miraculous Ladybug fixing everything? It fixed Alex's watch when it was broken prior to the akumatization. You don't think it would have fixed up the actual person who was akumatized? And don't even get me started on Shadow Moth's final attack. Like, seriously, what is this stupid Vegeta eyepiece? It can just detect whatever Felix needs it to, and we never see this eyepiece ever again after this finale. But that's not even the worst example in that episode, because Adrian and Felix do a twin swap, and Gabriel gives a direct demand to Felix, who, remember, is supposed to be pretending to be Adrian, but Felix refuses the command. They should have immediately let Gabriel know that this isn't Adrian, but guess what? He just so happened to give the ring to Natalie, and the command just so happened to work when she said it. Like, come the hell on, talk about coincidences. Oh, and what about the fact that Felix's stupid plan about taking Ladybug's yo-yo shouldn't have worked in the first place, because if Ladybug had just detransformed quickly enough, her yo-yo would have disappeared like how Hawkmoth's cane did when he detransformed in Heroes Day, not after she transforms again. Felix isn't smart, he's an idiot with luck and a MacGuffin, and Lila's worse. Oh, let me just say the most outrageous shit if he will believe me over someone they've known for years. Let me just team up with Gabriel Legrest through pure luck, as I clearly didn't plan out a single thing prior, but the audience won't know that. Oh, let me just somehow convince 3 women that I'm their child. That makes sense. Huh, my first mom chooses to call the principal about me missing school right in front of me? How lucky. Imagine if she did it on her own time when I couldn't stop her. Wow, Tomoe just dropped this laptop thing that somehow has access to Gabriel Legrest's entire house? Oh wait, this was actually planned, as it was retconned to be in Tomoe's plan a whopping 2 years later. Lila and Felix are not smart. The plot just wants them to succeed, so they do. Pure dog shit. Speaking of pure dog shit, the writers have no clue how to write good finales. Here comes another hot take, but Heroes Day is the only good finale. Season 1 doesn't have a 2-part finale, as Origins is considered its own separate thing that you watch later as opposed to actually being a part of Season 1. Let me just name the most glaring problem with each finale, starting with LEMMiNO, which has major plot inconsistencies involving the Grimoire, Plag's knowledge about it and the Miraculous, and Lila's luck over her apparent intellect can be directly traced back to her introduction in this episode. The Battle of the the Miraculous character assassinates Chloe, destroys any semblance of Gabriel having any intellect, and completes his Flanderization, and once again shows the blatant favoritism of Marinette, cause why was she the only one to receive a letter? Like, come on, foo. Shadowmoth's final attack relies on plot holes like how the Miraculous weapons work, MacGuffins like Felix's stupid eyepiece, and character incompetence like Marinette's complete breakdown, as opposed to the quick thinking that has managed to save her under more extreme circumstances, like in Cat Blanco or Miracle Queen. And the final day has so many problems that if I wrote out my frustrations with it, it would be longer than the Ethiopian Bible. But if I had to name one, it's the fact that they sat out Adrian even though his father is the main villain of the show. Not to mention he easily could have escaped his cell using Cataclysm since the camera in his room was disabled, or using Plague since he easily could have opened the door via inhabiting the keycard scanner. And it would have been perfectly fine, as he has snuck out before, and considering the writers knew it was the final episode of the arc, if it did tip off Gabriel to Adrian being Cat Noir, it would have only made for a better finale, even though Gabriel shouldn't have had that suspicion in the first place because of Gorzilla. Heroes Day is the only finale where they actually locked in, and even then, it still has problems like why didn't Carapace shelter the butterfly sentry that is clearly not on their side, or even just shelter Hawkmoth since he'd then be stuck and there's nothing the butterfly could do at that point. Why didn't Rena Rouge make an illusion of them not budging and clearly resisting the wind in order to trick Hawkmoth and Mayura into thinking the coast wasn't clear? And lastly, how the hell did this yo-yo web fall apart because of some wind? Either way, I know my goat when it comes to finales. The last thing I'm willing to express my hatred on for this video is my genuine vitriol for Felix Fathom and his relationship with Kagami. If you are a Feeligami truther, don't let me change your mind. It's your ship and have fun with it.
Love you too.
Oh, they're so cute. Lizzie, I don't know if you're watching this, but I know you're going crazy right now. I can hear her squeals from here.
Moi aussi je t'aime.
But you can't argue with me that it is completely illogical and has no setup. Felix in general had no setup, and I'll never understand the switch up. This is his appearances and orders and how he acted. Asshole who turns Adrian's friends against him and tries to sexually assault Ladybug. Does literally nothing. Betrays Ladybug and helps give Gabriel almost all of the Miraculous. Evading punishment for his actions. Genocide. Stalking and kidnapping. Goes against his own code about making sentient monsters just to tell a dramatized version of his and his family's story. Like, where in that did he become a sympathetic character? Where in that did he redeem himself for his actions? Where in that did he apologize for his actions and wrongdoings? Where in that is Kagami supposed to start falling for him? Man, Kagami is so lucky that the boy she's in love with just happens to have an identical cousin that loves her. Wow, this makes so much sense. My good buddy Critical Retrospective put it best when he said this.
It feels like a consolation prize for Kagami after Adrian rejected her, and Felix is not in any position to date anyone because of all his issues. Issues that magically go away whenever Kagami is around to convince us that their relationship is organic and meaningful, when it's really just a slapdash attempt to give Felix's heel face turn more credence. But I ain't buying it. Seeing him in Yaxi Gozen after all the stuff he did, without it ever being acknowledged, with all the other characters pretending he's a good person who earned all the love, forgiveness and support he is getting now, boils my blood.
Well spoken, Crit. Well spoken. I have an Instagram now. Go follow me there on X/Twitter and TikTok. All handles on the screen now. Thank you for watching. Shout out to channel members Gerardo Rostero, Loki, and Harb. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.